Hello all, welcome. Thank you all for joining the session. So today's agenda was discussing on transit gateways. So before we start the transit gateways, right, I just want to give you a small introduction about the transit gateway. Okay, what is transit gateway? The benefits of the transit gateway and the limitations of transit gateway and the demo which we are performing on today's session. Okay, so if you guys remember that in the previous session, we discussed about the VPCs, and under that particular VPC, we created the EC2 instances and S3 buckets, right? So my requirement here is, so this is my requirement, okay? My requirement is I would like to communicate between newly created VPCs, okay?
Excuse me.
Hello? Guys, am I audible?
Yes, Sandeep. Yes, Sandeep, you're audible.
Yeah. So my requirement here is, okay, in the single account in the Mumbai region, I have created one VPC. Okay, this is my VPC, app VPC. And in similar way, I have created one more VPC in the Singapore region. Okay, this is my VPC detail with the DevOps bus started with the pool 192.168.1.0/24 with the CADR. Okay, see, this is the CADR block. So my requirement here is I want to communicate from one VPC to other VPC. So by default, in the AWS account, we cannot communicate from one network to other network. If you want to communicate from one network to other network or one region to other region, we have to use the concept called transit gateways. Okay. So from one VPC to other VPC, if you want to communicate, then we have to use the concept called transit gateways. So this is part of network. Okay, if you scroll down the VPCs, you'll be able to see called transit gateways. So this is the gateway. Okay. So now let me explain about what is transit gateway and the benefits of transit gateways and the advantages of transit gateways. So transit gateway connects VPCs on on-premises network through central hub. Okay, a transit gateway is a network transit hub that you can use to interconnect your VPCs. The VPCs can be in any region. That could be Singapore. That could be in any region across the AWS account. We can use the transit gateway to communicate between the VPCs. Okay, and there are a couple of benefits using the transit gateway as well. One of the most important benefit using the transit gateway is simplified visibility and network control. Okay, so you can use the transit gateway network to manage and you can easily monitor your VPCs. And we can implement this transit gateway using hub and spoke topology as well. So this hub and spoke topology solution can be organized to reduce the number of VPC peering connections and consolidate access to the on-premises network. Okay, so this is one of the benefit using the transit gateway. And the main important is improved security, right? So if one VPC want to communicate other VPC, mostly, right, how initially we used to do, we have to route the traffic through internet gateway, and from there it has to route through the internet and it will reach different other VPCs. No, so in these cases, all the traffic will be routed through the public. So that is not secure, right? If you are, if you want to communicate with the database servers or any other important services through public, that is not secure way. So AWS provided, solution called transit gateway that increases the security. Completely improve the security. If you see this one, right? Traffic between a VPC and transit gateway remains on the AWS global private network, and it is not exposed to the public internet. So everything will be communicated through private network. So it will not pass through public, and everything will be happen through a private network. Okay. So this is one of the and there are also a couple of limitations using the transit gateway. The first limitation is transit gateway peering only possible across regions, not within the region. Okay. Region here in this case, let me show you. So I'm the Singapore region. If I want to communicate the VPC which is in Mumbai region, then I have to go. I can use the transit gateways. Okay. In the similar way, if Mumbai VPC want to communicate with Hong Kong, or Mumbai VPC want to communicate with the Oregon, right? We have the solution for transit gateways. Okay, transit gateway doesn't support the routing between VPCs with overlapping CADs. So this is the limitation, because across the account, for example, in this case, in the Singapore region, I'm using 192.168.1.0/24 network, right? The same network, if I'm using in the Mumbai region, if I'm trying to overlap, if I'm trying to communicate, then using the transit gateway, it will not work. So actually, transit gateway doesn't support if the two VPCs are using same CADR. Okay. And the last limitation of using the transit gateway is completely maximum bandwidth per connection using the transit mesh is 1.25 Gbps. So this is the limitations we have using the transit gateways. Okay. So live project I'm going to show you. So this is the overall setup we are going to achieve now. So let us take one of the VPC has one 10 series and another VPC in Mumbai region, another VPC in Singapore region. So I want to communicate from Mumbai region to Singapore in the similar way, Singapore to Mumbai region. This can be achieved with the help of transit gateways. So for example, Mumbai region is trying to communicate. Okay, let me give you small. So in these cases, okay. So let us assume this is Mumbai region, Mumbai, and this is called Singapore. Okay, so I created one VPC in the Mumbai region. I created one VPC in the Singapore region. Now, if I want to communicate from Mumbai to Singapore, the packet flows like this. So Mumbai reaches the transit gateway ID. Okay, so this is transit gateway. Similarly, it will act as a logical router. Okay, so this router knows information how to packet forwards to the destination. So once the source request hits the gateway, this gateway will forward the request to the Singapore region. So in this similar way, Singapore want to communicate with Mumbai. So this will be forwarded to the gateway, and from the gateway will forward to the Mumbai region. So in this way, communication will be happening. So guys, any questions in the transit gateway concept? Why we are using the transit gateway, the limitations of transit gateway, and the benefits of transit gateways. Any questions?
It's clear, Sandeep. Good to go.
Can you repeat once, Sandeep?
Sure.
Hello?
Yeah, hello?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, can you repeat once? Yeah.
Okay. Right. So, so what do you understand with the help of transit gateway? At least know what do you understand?
We can connect from.
Hello?
Yeah, carry on. You can carry on.
Yeah, please go.
It's nothing but endpoints, right? Like we're connecting to endpoints.
No, not about the endpoints. Okay. See, I'm sharing my screen, right? In this screen, I just know this is the logical diagram which I'm representing with you. So let us take this is the Mumbai region. Okay, the CIDR which is okay. So in the Singapore region, actually what we used to do, we used to create the VPCs, right? So this has a CIDR for 192.168.1.0. Under this, we're going to create the instances and we're going to use it. Okay. So in the same account, I want to create one more VPC in the Mumbai region. So what I will do, I will log into the Mumbai region. I will try to create the transit gateways. So I'll try to create the VPCs. So in these cases, I'm using this VPC for application and Singapore is for my database or something like that. Okay. So now what is my requirement here is, I want to communicate from Mumbai VPC to the Singapore VPC, because I'm going to create the EC2 instances in the Mumbai region, and then Singapore region, I'm going to create the databases. Okay. All the communication has to happen through private network. It should not be communicated through public. So all the communication has to communicate through private. So in this cases, AWS provides a solution called transit gateways. So what is transit gateway? So transit gateway is nothing but it's a logical router, okay, which will interconnect between the VPCs. So if you see, right, a transit gateway is a network, the transit hub that you can use to interconnect your VPCs. Your VPCs can be in different regions. One VPC in the Mumbai region, other VPC in the different Singapore region. So in my example, I'm just taking one VPC in Mumbai, another VPC in the Singapore region. If you want to communicate between the two VPCs, then we have to use the concept called AWS provides a solution called transit gateways. Is it clear?
Yeah, got it.
So this is the logical diagram which I'm sure we are performing some demo based upon this. So now, so let me close this. No, I don't want to use this. I'm going to use this. Okay. So as per my demo, I'm keeping you know 10 out. I'm going to create two VPCs. One in the Mumbai region, which I'm highlighting. Which is highlighting with the alphabetical. And S indicates that Singapore. Okay, I'm creating two VPCs, one in Mumbai, one in Singapore. If I want to communicate from Mumbai to Singapore, the packet will come to the transit gateway, and the transit gateway knows how to reach the Singapore region, right? So in the similar way, Singapore want to communicate Mumbai region. The Singapore request will come to the transit gateway, and the transit gateway will forward request to the Mumbai region. This way, the communications will be happening using the transit gateways via private network. Okay, so this is the concept. So any questions, guys, before we go into the demo?
No question.
Okay. So this is the steps we are going to follow. Okay. So solution is, as I mentioned, if you want to communicate between the two VPCs using the private network, right? The best solution which is recommended by AWS is transit gateways. So this is steps we are going to follow. The first step is create in any region. You can choose Mumbai region. Okay. In the Mumbai region, I'm going to create the transit gateway. So how we can create the transit gateway? First, navigate to the VPC. So under this VPC, if you scroll down, you will be able to see option called transit gateways. Click on that. Right. So now create the transit gateway. This is Mumbai transit GW gateway ID. Okay. So rest of the things are optional. You can no need to select anything. Just click on create the transit gateway. So once you create the transit gateway, it will take few minutes to to bring to come the status as up, and let us wait few more minutes. So now the state is in pending state. We have to wait till the state becomes active. Okay. In the similar way, I will navigate to the Singapore region. I'll try to create transit gateway in the Singapore region. So I'll be navigating to the Singapore transit gateway. I'm just trying to create the transit gateway. So this is Singapore transit gateway ID. I'm just creating the transit gateway in the Singapore as well. Okay. So once we create the transit gateways, we have to attach our VPCs. Okay. So how we can attach? Go to the Mumbai region. There is an option called attachment, transit gateway attachment. Okay. Create transit gateway attachment. I'm going to create Mumbai VPC attachment. I'm attaching the Mumbai. I'm attaching the VPC which I created in the Mumbai region. So I'm selecting the transit gateway, which is Mumbai transit gateway ID. Okay. And attachment type here is I'm going to select VPC. Okay. Either we have multiple options. We can use the VPN. We can create the peering connections. We can use the VPC. In this case, the VPN and the peering connections are legacy. So most of the things on the production network, we're going to use the VPC concepts. So we are going to select the attachment type as VPC. A transit gateway is network transit hub that interconnect attachments, VPC and VPNs within the same AWS account or across AWS accounts. So I want to communicate between two VPCs on the same account. So I'm going to choose attachment type as VPC, and I'm selecting creating required VPC here is app1 VPC. Okay, I'm just selecting that. I'm creating the transit gateway attachment. Okay, so far I have done the two steps. First one is I just created transit gateway. Okay, and I just created transit gateway, and I just waited to come to be available. Once it is available, then I just created transit gateway attachment and attach the VPC in the transit gateway attachment. Okay, now I'll navigate to the Singapore. I will follow the same steps. Okay, I will come to the transit gateway attachment. I'm going to create. Let's wait. Let me double check whether now the state is available. Singapore transit gateway. I'm navigating to the transit gateway attachment, and I'm just creating that. So this is Singapore. Attachment, VPC attachment. Okay, I'm just selecting the Singapore transit gateway ID, and attachment type is VPC. Okay, selecting the VPC is DevOps 12 batch with the 19160 pool, and I'm just trying to create. So now the second step is, first step is creating the transit gateway ID. The second step is creating the transit gateway attachment. In this attachment, I just attached only the VPC which I want to communicate, right? So these are the two steps I've just performed. Okay. The third step which we need to perform is creating the routing table. So before we creating the routing table, right, I want to perform one more action. That is the third step called peering connections. So again, I'm just creating the transit gateway attachment. Okay. So this is called Singapore to Mumbai peering. So it will try to come, it will form, if I created the peering connections, right. A VPC peering connection is a network connection between the two VPCs that enables you to route traffic them privately. So we are using to communicate, because we are going to create, we want to communicate from one network to other network, right? Definitely we want to use the peering connections to form the connectivity to route the traffic between them privately. Okay, so I'm just trying to create peering connection as well. So selecting the same Singapore ID here in the VPC attachment type, I'm going to select peering connections, right? So here I want to communicate with the Mumbai region, the same account. So I'm just selecting my account, and the region here is I want to communicate with the Mumbai region. Mumbai, I'm selecting the Mumbai region. Okay, here I have to add the transit gateway acceptor ID. So what I'll do, I navigate to the Mumbai. I will grab the transit gateway ID which I created recently. Transit, this is the Mumbai transit gateway ID, right? Let me refresh the page. So this is the transit gateway ID which I created recently. I'm just gripping that, and I'm just adding here the same transit gateway ID. I'm just adding. So 500. So I'm just trying to add the transit gateway ID over here. I'm just creating the transit gateway attachment with the peering connections. So it will take few minutes. So once I create the peering connections, I have to navigate to the, navigate to the Mumbai region, and I'm going to select, the peering transit gateway attachment. I have to accept it. So if you see, right, so this is the Mumbai VPC attachment. I got it. So I think I'm going to refresh the page. If you see, right, automatically I have received the resource type as peering. I'm just clicking that. So it's an initialization request. I'm just double clicking on it. Here I have to accept the connection. Either we'll be having three options. First one, I accept the transit gateway attachment, which I initiated from the Singapore. And either you can accept, or you can reset, or you can delete. So in this case, I want to accept that. So I'm just selecting accept. Okay. So it will take few minutes. So in the meanwhile, what I will do, for testing case, I will navigate to the EC2 in the Mumbai region. I'm going to create one more instance. In the Mumbai, I have already 3 instances anyway. Let me launch one more instance very fast. So I'm just setting the Amazon AMI freeware. I want to use the app VPC here. Public subnet. I want to use the public subnet. I want to use the public IP address. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. I'm just selecting the default one. I'm just adding a security group. So okay, I'm selecting this. I'm launching the instance, right? In the similar way, I'm going to launch one more instance in the Singapore region. Launching the instance, starting the AWS AMI, configuring the instances. I want to install DevOps, public subnet. I want to enable public IP address for this. Okay, I'm just adding the storage default, and adding the security tags is optional part, so we can ignore for now. And existing group, right? I want to add this all this stuff. Launch the instance, DevOps batch, launch instance. So view instance. Okay. So I'm getting to the EC2. the Singapore. One tab I have is, one is in Singapore, one is in Mumbai. I want to move it to Mumbai. So right. So the instance which is in Mumbai is run up and running. So let me log into particular EC2 instance, connect. I'm connecting to the particular instance. Right. I'm able to connect to the particular instance. Okay. Now what I will do, I'll try to ping the public IP address from the Mumbai VPC. Definitely it will work. 13.229.134.139. 134.139. Definitely is working. That's expected. Now, what is my requirement here? My requirement is all the communication should happen through private, right? So that is my requirement. So I'm just grabbing the private IP address 192.168.1.208. I'm just trying to ping that 192.168.1.208. This will not work. Okay, so at this moment is not working because the transit gateway is full. We have not configured fully. So just let's keep pinging and let's come to the transit gateways stuff and let's add remaining stuff. Okay. I think we have created the VPC transit gateway attachment, right? So let's navigate to the VPC. And click on the transit gateway attachment type. Let's see the status of peering connections. The peering connection status is available, so we're good here. Okay, so now what I'll do, I'll come to the transit gateway routing table. Okay, so by default, the moment you create the transit gateway ID, automatically the routing table will be created. So I'm just using the same routing table. I'm just adding the routes here. So my requirement here, I want to communicate. Just adding the static route. Okay, I want to communicate from Mumbai to Singapore, right? What is the VPC CADR for the Singapore? Let's see it. Let's navigate into the Singapore 192.168.1.24. This is my CADR block. So I want to communicate from Mumbai. So what I'm just adding, I'm adding the private IP address here. See guys, just note it down. I'm not adding any public IP address. I'm just adding 192 class C 192.168.1.0 with /24 in the routing table. Okay, I'm just saving that. Peering attachment, I'm just saving that. Okay, in a similar way, I need to add the route for return route. So in the routing table from Singapore, I want to add the routes to Mumbai. I'm coming the routes. Create the static route. What is the VPC here for Mumbai? So that is 10.00/16. I'm just adding that. Okay, I'm attaching the VP peering attachment, Singapore to Mumbai peering, and just creating static route. So now we have just created the transit gateway. This stuff is completed. Let's try to verify the reachability. So still is not working. So there is one reason, because we have to add the routes in the subnet routing table as well. So in the VPC, we'll be having an option called the routing table, and there also we have to add the routing. So what I'll do, I'll try to public routing table. One second. Let me have one. This is the subnet I want. This is the VPC I wanted. So here, so this is the routing table. Right here, I'm just adding the routes. Edit route. Okay, I want to communicate. Now I want to communicate 192.1.1.0, right? 192.168.1.0/24. I'm using the transit gateway. So I'm just selecting the transit gateway. Mumbai VPC attachment. I'm just selecting and saving this. Now the routing routes is being added. So this.
Sandeep, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
That is not 10. 168.1.0, I think. Can you check again, please?
192.168. Oh, sorry. It's a good point. So 1.0. I'm just saving the routes. Right. In the similar way, I'll be navigating to the Singapore. The Singapore region, I'm going to add the route. Public routing table. I'm just selecting the route. So an association is pointed to public. That's fine. So I'm just selecting the routes. I think these details subnet association we already discussed in the VPC concepts. Again, I'm not going to discuss. So in this case is the transit gateway. Just I'm trying to add the routes manually. Edit routes. Adding the route with 10.0.0./8. Here I'm selecting the transit gateway as a gateway. So Singapore VPC attachment. I'm just saving the routes. Now come to the, I think we are good. Let's test the connectivity. If you see, right, automatically I'm getting the response. So the moment I add the routes, immediately, we're getting the response from one account to other account. In the similar way, I'll be logging into the other account, other EC2 instance which we recently created, Singapore, EC2. Okay, the instance is being up and running. Let me connect to that. What is the IP address of this? 192.168. What is the instance IP address? 10.0.1.174. Ping 10.0.1.174. Right, we are able to communicate from one VPC to other VPC using EC2 instances. So guys, any questions here?
Can you repeat the last one? Route table, transist gateway route tables. Was not able to understand.
Okay. So the subnets, right? The routing table is nothing but we have to so if you want to communicate with the destination network, all the network has to be added in the routing table. In my cases, I want to communicate with the 192.168. So what I'm doing, I'm entering into the routing table I'm telling that if I want to reach 192.168, I have to reach to the transit gateway. Okay, so I'm just coming to the public routing table. I just added the route here. Just edit the routes. Okay. Okay, this is Singapore, right? So in this case, I want to communicate with the Mumbai region. Mumbai has 10.00/8. So whenever your
which
request
means, yeah, which means you need to give Mumbai private
Mumbai
IP here.
CADR, yeah, Mumbai CADR block.
Okay. Okay. So network, I had no idea in networking. That's what I'm just
No problem. It's a good question, right? I think
Yeah.
it's a good question. In the destination routing table, always we have to point the destination routes, destination network. Okay. Please keep in mind, every time the routing table, you have to add only the destination network in the routing table.
Okay. One more question I had, okay, what you were saying that two regions we need to connect through here and there, but what about if I get a request from the like 4 connections I wanted to be, so the same process should
The
should I
same
go through it?
process, right?
Like
So
10,
that is the reason.
Okay. Oh, yeah, correct.
Yeah. So that is the reason we are designing here as a hub and spoke topology. Either we can use the transit gateway as a hub and spoke topology. Okay. So spokes can be anything. We can keep one site as a hub and remaining sites as a spoke. So if you see here, let me show you diagram one more time. If you see here, so let us take 10.1.0/0/0/16 is Mumbai. Okay, this is Singapore, and this is where we can consider as a Oregon. In the similar, we can create n number of VPCs in different regions, and we have to attach it to the transit gateway ID. How we can attach the VPCs? After creating the transit gateway in the VPC. So this is the transit gateway we have to create it, right? Once we create the transit gateway, here in the transit gateway attachment, we have to attach the VPC by the VPC which we want to communicate with other VPC.